My name is Julia Musa. I'm a second-year student at GISPIA. So my research will be looking at the Conservative Party of Canada and how they changed their political discourse at the time of the Freedom Convoy. So how we saw them speak differently about vaccines, about the pandemic and masking and other measures. So words are really important to me in terms of my research. I'll be looking at specific words. So today I want to ask you a question about the word misinformation. So the word misinformation or disinformation can be a loaded word, and it can also have multiple meanings. It became a popular word during the pandemic. It's used by both the right and the left. The concern is when this word is being used to discredit opposing views, which was amplified during the pandemic. It's been a word you've used many times, so how do you decide what's misinformation and when to use this word, since the word can encompass different ideas amongst Canadians? Thank you.
Unlike all of you in this room, or most of you in this room, I never studied political science. I studied English literature. So words really matter to me. And you may call me old-fashioned, but I tend to defer to the actual definitions of words when I use them. And misinformation and disinformation, which you used a little interchangeably, are actually very different things. Disinformation is when things that are false, things that are untrue, are spread by people who don't know any better. Misinformation is a deliberate choice to spread and share falsehoods for a particular purpose, whether it's a personal purpose or a political purpose or a creating chaos purpose. Now, what can start as misinformation can quickly end up being amplified as disinformation. But the entire discourse has to ground itself in something, because you're absolutely right. Who decides what is misinformation and disinformation? Well, if someone looks outside and says it's a beautiful blue sky sunny day today, we would know that's wrong, because our experience here in Ottawa, our experience looking out the window tells us otherwise. But if someone says the earth is flat, you can see extensive YouTube pages devoted by people who've decided, and this is a recent phenomenon over the past decade or so, that the earth is flat, because their experience as they look out to the horizon is, boy, the earth sure looks flat. So it can't just be about perception. You look on the Weather Channel, oh, it's raining in Ottawa. Okay, so it's not a blue sky sunny day. We have to agree that we're going to agree with the Weather Channel on this, or with the scientists from Environment Canada who are saying that it is sunny today in Ottawa, or it is rainy here today in Ottawa. There has to be an acceptance that there are experts out there that create a basis of fact that was built up on in generations to tell us that, you know, water is wet and it freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, and it, you know, there are scientific realities that have been proven and accepted. And the challenge that we have now is that increasingly misinformation and disinformation is carrying people to believe things that are untrue. And vaccinations is a perfect example of it. Like any modern bit of medical advancements, there are potential side effects in vaccinations. And there, you know, are people who've probably gotten very sick from vaccinations, on the billions of people who've been vaccinated against COVID over the past few years. But there are far more people who obviously have died due to COVID, died from not getting vaccinated. And the idea that people can fly in the face of science, well, individuals are allowed to make their own choices. There may be all sorts of different reasons why someone is hesitant to get vaccinated. But I make a distinction, and I have always have, between someone choosing for personal reasons to choose not to get vaccinated, and someone deliberately using misinformation to mislead and scare other people with so-called facts that aren't facts at all, that lead them to make a choice that endangers their lives and the lives of other citizens. So as Prime Minister, through the greatest public health crisis that we've faced in 100 years in this country, since the Spanish flu, my responsibility was to keep as many Canadians alive as possible. And all of the scientists and the medical experts and the researchers, not just in Canada, but around the world, understood that vaccination was going to be the way through this. And therefore, while not forcing anyone to get vaccinated, I chose to make sure that all the incentives and all the protections were there to encourage Canadians to get vaccinated. And that's exactly what they did. We got vaccinated to a higher level than just about any other of our peer countries. And that's why we had a less deadly pandemic than most other countries. Now, I see a lot of people nodding along with that. But boy, oh boy, you know, the comments section on the live stream right now is exploding with people who are in deep, deep disagreement with everything I just said. And we have to figure out how to continue to protect those people, because my job as Prime Minister is to keep people alive and keep people safe and keep democracy going, whether or not they choose to believe that's what I'm doing or not. But this is a challenge that we've all faced throughout our democracies, and I know you guys had similar discourses in Germany around that.